You saw Moroccan players taking a goalkeeper's referee. That is the worst form of fair play in football. There is a groundswell of opinion that feels Morocco has too much of an influence in African football.
Well, understandably, because they're rich.
And they've
They
been
have
hosting
money
a
to
whole lot of
spend.
tournaments. FIFA has an undue influence on African football, and they're changing some things to follow Europe or FIFA. They want to move this AFCON to a 4-year cycle. FIFA cannot come into the equation because
It's none of their business.
It's not their jurisdiction. But I don't understand why religious leaders focus on predicting results
I
of
think
Super
it's
Eagles
a
match.
racket.
I mean, I don't
Form
see
of
the
a
point.
racket.
I don't see how that elevates Christianity in any way.
Oh, Dejiana, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
I'm sorry I had to drag you out this very hot afternoon.
Well,
but I just...
in actual fact, it was only you that could have gotten me
I
out
don't live
because I've been under the radar for a few weeks because I lost somebody. So.
Everybody is under the radar for one thing or the other. There's the heat, there's a lack of light, there's enough to knock you down. But I think some of us have just decided that we are not going to go down.
Show must go on.
The show must go on, yes. And the show, one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you mainly was development in sports. We call it sports, but at the end of the day, we always narrow down to football. And the most disturbing one is the AFCON. I thought I'd like to seek your opinion and have a discussion with you on. I need you to explain to me what actually went on. That the match and the cup was ultimately, that decision was ultimately given to Morocco. I thought a match would start and end with a whistle. And I thought that even though the players went off the field for no matter how long, they came back and the game was played and the whistle was blown and the cup was given. So what's all the politics about?
Well, it's a very, very disturbing development. And it's a very, very disturbing situation with African football. I was in Morocco for 10 days during AFCON. I got to Morocco after the first round, after the knockout rounds had been set up, the matches. And on landing in Morocco, the impression and the perception I got was that there was a lot of anger bubbling beneath the surface from a lot of officials and journalists from other countries whose feeling was that CAF was doing everything possible under the radar, surreptitiously, to ensure that Morocco won the AFCON. This was still at the, I think, quarterfinal stage. I got there. It was the quarterfinal stage. And that feeling was pervasive. A lot of people felt like that. And as events unfolded, I normally don't like conspiracy theories because I always believe that you need 1,000,001 people to make a conspiracy theory work. But I couldn't shake the feeling myself of looks like something is going on behind the scenes. There were some games that Morocco played, and there were obvious calls we felt should have gone to what we call VAR, and it didn't go there.
Yeah.
I recall, I think the second round or quarterfinal against Tanzania, if I'm not mistaken, there was what I felt was a good penalty shout. Even if the referee missed, it should have gone to VAR. It did not go. I was at the stadium for their quarterfinal against Morocco. Morocco and Cameroon. I beg your pardon.
Cameroon.
That was a day after I got to Morocco, and in Rabat, and there was a call, a very popular player, Manchester United player, Mbeumo. I felt that was a foul. It wasn't called. I was at the stadium for the Nigeria game, Nigeria-Morocco semi-final, and a lot went on. And even the choice of referees, by quality and by rating, the referee that was chosen for the Nigeria game did not have the standing to referee that game. Because let me explain for you how it works. If you need a very strong referee to handle a match involving the host nation. Because there's going to be a lot of intimidation from the crowd. That happened against Nigeria, and the referee fell for it every time. And Nigerians were very, very angry. We were hearing stories unconfirmed that some Nigerians were not let in. There was a situation of the towels. If you saw that.
Yeah, I remember, yes.
Now, you saw that, and you saw what happened in the final. How does Morocco get...
Was it said that the towel was Kurube or what?
I don't understand. But how does, after all those shenanigans involving Moroccan players,
yes.
How does Morocco get a fair play trophy?
Yeah.
After the tournament. You can't put the two together. You saw Moroccan players taking a goalkeeper's referee. That is the worst form of fair play in football. And and I tell you this, if those situations were not captured on camera by some other people, the assistant referees were there, the match commissioners were there. Are you telling me they did not see all those shenanigans going on?
As for VAR, just to cross-check.
So at the end of the day, the perception was pervasive. So I think Senegal got to the final, really wound up, and was like, whatever it takes today, we know there's going to be a lot of things going on. How do you have ball boys fighting a player for a towel and actually rolling on the ground? Official ball boys. How does that happen? So to the game itself, yes, there's something, I like to break it down by saying there's a letter of the law, but there's also a spirit of the law. And I feel there's also the good of the game. And there's also a common sense application of the law. How do I mean? By the letter of the law, I'm not even going to bother you about Article 82, 83, all those things are semantics, because if you put two lawyers side by side on the same point, they'll give you two or three different interpretations. And I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to try to interpret anything. But here's the thing. If Morocco says the match will have been voided because Cameroon and Senegal left the pitch, how did they come back to the pitch? They had a penalty and they missed it. So if they had scored a penalty, would you have won that game? And you say that game was illegal. They missed the penalty.
You're saying that
they came back.
If they came back, took a penalty.
They came back. The perception was that penalty would have given them the trophy.
Why did that player take the penalty? Was he nervous?
Well, it's possible. I don't know.
He played right into the keeper's hand.
I don't. They call it a panenka in football. If it works, you are a genius. You look very good. If it doesn't work, you look like a fool. And that's exactly what happened. They've seen situations like that players, because what it does is that the assumption is that the goalkeeper will move right or left.
Yes.
So if I just play it in the middle, lob it, the goalkeeper will just look helplessly. And we've seen it happen. A lot of players have had the panenka.
But
but if the goalkeeper stays on his line,
yes,
and waits for you, that's what happened. And you play it into his hands, and you look like
I don't like the
panenka, whatever they call it.
Whatever it is. I like it.
You hit the ball.
You hit the ball.
Yeah, you hit the ball. So that's what happened. So my take is that Morocco came back. They played the game. A game was concluded. A trophy was handed over. How do you now come and say 2 months later? Because you see, Jimmy, football is in moments. Even for me, Morocco is a hollow victory.
Yeah.
And let me explain why. It is in that moment at the stadium.
That is important for you.
That is important. When we beat Algeria, you have a video on my social media. Myself and Mumini Alao, the way we're dancing at the stadium, and it is in that moment. So in that moment, the players celebrate on the pitch. There's a trophy lift. They enjoy themselves. The crowd in the stand celebrate. A day or two later, the fans in their country erupt into the streets and dance, and then they go about. Maybe a day or two later, there's a trophy parade. And after 2 or 3 days, everybody goes back to default setting. It's in that moment.
Why?
So Senegal have had that. Morocco can never have that.
So why do you think that the Moroccans are so persistent that they even had to file? Because filing means that you probably think that you might get it, and they got it.
Well, I have to say this. There's a lot of things I'm saying maybe unsubstantiated, but perception at times is very close to reality. there is a groundswell of opinion that feels Morocco has too much of an influence in African football.
Understandably, because they're rich.
And they'll be
They have
hosting
money
a
to
whole lot of
spend.
tournaments.
They
You know,
have
there's
money
a
to spend.
perception that, like I told you when I got to Morocco, that perception. So there's a perception that this was just the way for CAF to finally get to the result they wanted in the first place anyway, a Moroccan win. But for me, I don't see how Morocco will celebrate this victory. Because for me, it's not
Well,
a sporting, it's not a sporting victory. It's a legal victory, yes, but it's not a sporting victory.
It's early days yet, because we heard the Senegalese want to appeal.
Yeah, definitely,
In fact, what
I suspect
heard,
they will.
correct me if I'm wrong, is that the Senegal have said that they are not returning the cup.
They can always give them another cup if they want
can
to.
what?
They can create another replica and give them. My point is this: when you even do that, do you now call the players?
But they'll be punished if they don't return the cup.
Maybe they're ready for that punishment.
They'll be okay.
But at least I don't think you can punish them until the legal process is ended at the Court of Arbitration for Sport. So if they say they are appealing, you have to hold your fire until they exhaust that appeal process.
Is FIFA going to come into the equation at any time?
FIFA cannot come into the equation because
it's none of their business.
It's not their jurisdiction. But, you know, there's also been the accusation of the CAF president that he allows too much external influences. And when you mentioned FIFA, that FIFA has an undue influence on African football, and they're changing some things to follow Europe or FIFA. They want to move this AFCON to a 4-year cycle. People are saying that is an external influence. Morocco is like the saving grace for African football. A lot of African countries cannot host 24-team tournaments. Morocco is probably the one that has 6, 7, 8 standard stadia to host tournaments of that size. They're going to host World Cup in 2030.
We have one.
Please don't go there, Jimmy.
We have one.
Yeah.
Okay. Which of the two would we say are the standard? Is it the Abuja one or the one Akpabio built?
No, it's one Akpabio built. The Abuja one is not in
it's dead.
State. Well, I don't think it's in a playable state. Let me put it that way.
But what is wrong? You know, I used to jog around the National Stadium in Sweden when I thought I was still healthy enough to do so. I since packed it in. But the feces, the state of the stadium is horrible. What's the problem?
You're asking me. I don't work for government. I don't know.
No, you should.
I don't know. And it's not that I grew up in Ibadan. Go to Liberty Stadium. Same thing. Liberty Stadium used to be the stadium hosting national team matches when we were growing up.
Yes.
Yes. Green Eagles used to come there to play.
Yes.
Stationary used to come and play their continental games there.
Now everybody goes to you only.
Now you only. So I think it's a question of the way we manage. What's the right word now? The way we manage facilities. We obviously don't manage facilities well.
Okay, so I don't want to lose track of this Morocco thing. If the victory, the so-called victory to Morocco is upheld, what effect do you think that will have on football in Africa? It's not going to go down well.
It already has gone down very, very badly. Because like I said, people are feeling that this is just, rightly or wrongly, this is just a way to get to the result you wanted in the first place, which was a Moroccan victory. And that you have found a way to hand them the victory. Like I said, it's going to be a very hollow victory. Because the sports fans across Africa, maybe apart from Morocco, and I've even had Moroccans who say this is not the right way to win.
You're not winning anything anyway.
Yeah. So because as like I said, are you not going to call the players, hand them the trophy, they do a trophy lift? Are you going to parade? You know, it's a hollow.
And you cannot take to come from Liverpool.
And you cannot take those moments, like I said, those moments that Senegal have had celebrating that trophy.
You can't take it back.
Timeless. Timeless, like your podcast.
Yeah, timeless.
You cannot take it away from them. They have earned it and they've had it. And Moroccan players would feel hollow. Why are you giving me a medal? Did you win this thing on the pitch? So there's something about it that is Pyrrhic, that is hollow. But maybe the record books will state differently.
Do you know much about Moroccan politics?
I won't say I know that. That
Because
was the only time I
would be
went
nice.
there.
It would have been nice to find out if somebody's tenure depended on this.
I don't know, but the Moroccan, I think, like the Fuja, I think the Moroccan head of Moroccan football is the vice president in CAF, vice president to Mosepe. And there's been a lot of talk that Morocco, of course, because they are hosting a lot. Okay, let me bring this angle. You know, the WAFCON, the female version, was supposed to be played in March.
Yes.
And it was postponed. Now, what I'm about to say, I don't have an independent verification of it. But there's talk that event was postponed because Morocco wanted to find out what the verdict for this
would
be before they decide whether they were going to host or not. You have to move away, even from a sporting fairness perspective, you have to move away from one country hosting all the African tournaments.
Well, but look,
whatever they do,
their facilities were top notch.
But are you not going to say because Morocco has the facilities to keep hosting every event?
No. But I'm just saying.
You can't talk for the facilities. But what I'm trying to say is that CAF is taking the easiest option. That's what they're doing. Okay, Morocco is there. We have a tournament. We can't find a host. Morocco. I don't think it works like that. You have to find South Africa. If you're going to do that, South Africa, I think, has facilities. So alternate it if South Africa is also ready. Now you have this idea of 3 nations hosting the next one. I think it's Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, if I'm not mistaken. It's a travel hub, so they might probably host a decent tournament as well. But you have to just move away from, because from a sporting perspective, playing at home gives the Moroccan teams an advantage. Go back to WAFCON last year. If you remember, Jimmy, we beat Moroccan team in the final of the women's AFCON. Nigeria came from 2 goals down to win 3-2. There was a penalty shout, VAR call for the Moroccans to probably level the tie at 3-3, which the referee checked and referee ruled out there was not a penalty. Stories have it that the head of referees commission was sacked after that tournament.
Why?
Because of the influence of Morocco. That what I'm trying to tell you. So what I'm trying to tell you, Jimmy, is that the perception of the rest of Africa is that Morocco has a hold. In fact, some people are calling it Morocaf. They are calling Morocaf. That Morocco has a hold.
That is irrespective of what has happened in the case of appealing.
Yeah, and you cannot allow that perception to continue to thrive. And that's what CAF are allowing. And that's where I disagree with them.
But why is sports so contentious? Because even back home here in Nigeria, we have coaches we cannot play for. By the way, I think it was rather disgraceful that we didn't have one single Nigerian referee at that tournament.
Well, it's not the first time. It's happened before.
What happened to all our referees?
We used to be, when it came to the Okubulis and all that, we used to be the pride of referees. But, there's one thing I try not to do when it comes to sports. I try not to take sports out of the larger society. It's a microcosm of society. So sports alone cannot stand out when the rest of society appears, quote unquote, to be going to the dogs, so to speak. So, it was an encounter with an elderly man on a flight that told me, I used to be very fiery. The man called me as well and said, Deji, you guys always talking football. That in a country where nothing else works, how do you expect sports or football to stand out?
But
it's not going to happen.
Like, what's the name of the Super Eagles group? Chell.
Eric Chell, yes.
Eric Chell. You're not paying him as and when due. Why would the guy stay on in spite of not being paid?
If it's true, because I don't have an independent confirmation. The guy
in the papers.
No, he himself. Jimmy, you read a lot of things in the papers that are not true. I'm sorry to say. These days of social media, some people just write. In fact, a trend now, you'll be surprised. Somebody will just put a quote and put your picture, Jimmy Disu there, that you said this, and the thing will trend. And maybe you know absolutely nothing about it. It happens in sports.
Let them not do the one that will send me to prison.
It happens a lot in sports these days. People just take a quote and ascribe it. They took a quote after this AFCON thing. They took a quote, ascribed it to George Weah, Liberian president, that he said he agreed with the decision. And the thing went viral. And the man had to come out and say, that was not from me. I'm sure you've seen instances where people will come out and say, I was not, there was one recently involving former President Obasanjo that has to come out and say, I was not the one that said that. So that happens a lot. So a lot of things, you need really to be discerning in a lot of ways when you read things. Eric Child, for me, has not come out to say, I am old. And if he hasn't come out to say that,
there we can.
I don't want to accept speculation.
See, I usually find people trying to make a case for a Nigerian coach. I personally, I believe a coach is a coach. I don't care what the color of his skin. I don't care where he's from. Other countries that even have very good footballers sometimes get a coach from outside. But why are we so far behind? We don't have any coach making an impact. We don't have any referee making an impact. But we do have loads of players making an impact.
You see, football or sport is about developing structures, not people, not individuals. People and individuals are developed within the structures. We are not developing structures. We are not putting structures in place to enhance the overall development of our sports across board.
I mean, because
there's always too much about, like in basketball, for instance, there have been, since I got into sports in the late 90s, there's always been one dispute or the other involving basketball leadership.
A current one
is still going on.
A current one now, I'm told reliably that what the government promised them has not been paid to them.
Which people?
The basketballers.
The ladies.
The ladies, yes.
No, but I think there are pictures when they were playing in France last couple of weeks, and the government officials went there.
Except
I think the officials went there and they purportedly presented those items to them. That's what we showed us.
I must go after. Have chairs. Have chairs
in one of them.
Not the players. So not the football players. Before people start saying individuals, but in their managers. And I'm sure you know who my friend is.
Okay.
I have a percentage because I prayed for him.
Okay, to get.
Yes, I prayed for him, and it was that I prayed for him. After all, praying for players.
You see, it gets to the point.
Praying for players and helping them predict and so on and so forth. It seems to be a lucrative business. You know, the Nigerian Pope, the one that puts the cap here, he said that we shouldn't play. Who was it?
You shouldn't play
Lookman. He lost there. So to finance, we had to beg. The next game we were playing, we had to beg that. Some of us had to beg him to please stay away. But where did that culture come from?
On the question of which culture?
This culture of prediction.
I honestly don't understand it. I honestly don't even know. I don't understand why religious leaders focus on predicting results of Super Eagles matches.
It's a
I don't see the point. I don't see how that elevates Christianity in any way.
Or sports for that matter.
For a spiritual leader to be saying Super Eagles are going to do this, do that. I don't see how that enhances Christianity or Islam in any way. Please focus on saving souls
and
building people. What's your business with football all the time?
There was a 10 years back when we had Mr. Kunzwa and some people like his, maybe that's where
I just feel. Let me get back to my question of structures. You mentioned the reward system. Okay, now we have a president who is doling out the cash for
purportedly because we don't see the money.
Yeah, we hear the but at least purportedly giving them money and maybe a few things. Under a former president, for instance, it was a golden handshake.
Yeah.
Why not have so everything depends on the personality of the president. But you must have a reward system that is institutionalized.
Well, our lives are not institutionalized. And I'll tell you, our lives are not institutionalized. Let me tell you what I mean. You have a president, you have a governor. You have some will say, call me excellency. Some will say, call me farmer governor. Some will farmer governor. Some will say, call me comrade governor. You have all kinds of things. Things that should be standard in the country. Nothing is standardized in this country.
Yeah, but I stick to what I know, which is sports. In a lot of countries, we go to the Olympics, we go to some events, there are standards. You win this, you get this. You win that, you get that.
But if the country is not standardized, sports can't be any different.
So, well, like I said, it goes back,
alluded to it.
it goes back to what I just said.
Yes.
Sports is a microcosm of the larger society. So whatever the larger society is facing, whatever industries are facing, whatever failures of the system are affecting other industries, sports cannot take itself away from that.
What is happening to the supporters club?
I have absolutely no idea about that. For instance,
You must have an idea.
for me too.
No,
Let me say for me too, Jimmy. I don't understand how supportership. Wait, let me make myself. I don't understand how supportership of a national team will become a political issue. We'll have
it's more than
factions.
it's an economic issue.
We'll have
It must be an economic
as
issue.
far as, because you will have factions fighting for. I honestly don't understand it. So I don't understand what that supporters club issue is, and I don't get it.
I have an idea.
Please tell me. I don't understand what it is.
No, I think it's economic.
Please explain.
I suspect that there's a lot of money to be made
from sponsors.
That's why people don't want to let go. You've had a chairman of the sports whatever hanging around. The leader I'm talking about is almost 80. It's a young boy's job.
I don't understand.
Because
even the young boys, there are factions already. There are about 2 or 3 different factions.
There are factions
to support the national team.
There are factions because the elder ones to have refused to vacate the seat. I saw 80-year-olds in Morocco in supporters club.
Wait, supportership
is
an optional thing. It's a personal thing.
But it's been...
You want to support your national team.
Yes.
It's a personal thing for you to say, I'm going to put my money, because real supporters spend their money.
Not these ones.
Then they're not supporters.
No, like I'm asking you. In sports. I'm not in sports now. I'm asking you. Do they spend their own money? Is there money to be made?
I don't know whether there's money to be. I don't know whether they're making money. No, Jimmy. That's what I'm saying. Real supporters,
you should be able to.
Real supporters spend their money. In England, you know about that. They spend money to buy season tickets. They go to the stadium every day. They buy food and stuff. They buy merchandise. That's what real supportership is.
No, but it looks as if this support.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm not there, so I don't know what it is that is causing the fight.
Okay, let me ask you a direct question.
I don't know what it is that's causing the fight.
Let me ask you a direct question. Who is the head of the supporters club of the Eagles?
I don't know. There's no official. Is there any official supporters club? Should there even be any?
Should there even be?
No, that's the point. If you're going to have something official, it has to be institutionalized. Not one individual saying. Okay, that's the point I'm making about institutionalizing things. For instance, there are some countries that there is an official list of supporters of the national team. Do we have anything like that? No. Somebody just comes and says, Jimmy just comes and says, I'm heading supporters club, and he's recognized for that. What stops me too from setting up my own supporters club?
So that's where we are now.
There are no structures guiding these things. That's the simple situation. If you have 1,000 people tomorrow, you can set up a supporters club and say you are now official supporters club of whatever.
Well, yeah, if there's money to be made, why not?
And so that's why I said, I don't know whether they're making money or not.
But I
work in the media. I do not know anything about supporters club.
You seem to be running away from the politics of football.
Which politics there?
The politics. How can you say there's no supporters club?
No, I'm not saying there's no. I say I don't understand why supporters club are fighting.
Okay, how many supporters?
Because wait, all of them are they not supporting the Super Eagles? Wait now, Jimmy. All of them are supposed to be supporters. Jimmy, all of them are supposed to be supporters of the Super Eagles. Yes.
Yes.
So what's the fight? You are supporting the same team. What is the fight? So someone needs to explain to me.
But doesn't it look untidy that you'd have 2, 3, 4 people?
I agree. But what I don't understand is what is the fight in us supporting one team?
So who do we hold?
There are no factions of the national team now. Okay. So why are we factions of supporters club?
Who do we hold responsible? Is it the NFF? Is it the sports? Who do we hold responsible?
I don't even think it's the NFF's business
about the supporters club,
except they have gotten into the politics of it themselves. Maybe they are supporting one faction over another.
I think they must have been dragged in a long time.
You see, Jimmy, and some of us.
Did they not end up in court?
I'm not sure. Because you see, let me be honest with you.
How come I know some of these things?
Because Jimmy, because some of these things, I don't bother my head with it. I focus on creating content and making little money I can make. Because what's my business talking? For instance, supporters
But
club.
there's more to make.
Jimmy,
money.
supporters club. Is that content?
I'm not a sports. I'm not a sports.
Jimmy,
wait. I'm not a sports person. But at one time, I did put up a fight that it's time we had one consolidated official supporters club. There are other ways. I can form a supporters club in the diaspora. I can form a supporters club online in the social media, yes, but there should be one core supporters club. The same names have been appearing for the past 40 years.
What has that got to do?
Why?
What has that got to do with somebody like me who just wants to?
It has to do with you.
No.
It has to do with you because as a sports person, I mean, we have to put up a fight to regularize a lot of things.
Jimmy,
yes.
Jimmy, my voice doesn't count.
Your next child must be called Jimmy.
that is another world because I'm done.
There could be a triplet.
It can't be.
Did you think you can't have children again? You might.
I don't plan to have any child again.
Nobody. You don't plan. In the program I did today, one person didn't plan. We were. The child came out. You can still have
I have 3 kids. Two were planned, the third happened. But
you can,
that's been 17 years ago.
There can be a triplet.
No, I know what I'm talking about. You don't know whether I've done a medical procedure and there's no triplet. You don't know.
I haven't done anything.
So you are the one that can have a triplet. You agree, not me. You see, but Jimmy, this is the thing, this supporters club thing. Let me explain my mindset to it.
Maybe
I'm not here. No, I'm not here as a media man to be talking about supporters club. The journalists in the so-called places that they call Sena climbs. How many times have you heard them talk about English supporters club?
But this is Nigeria now. Kenny, this is Nigeria. It's different.
We are not going. For instance,
the fact that they don't talk about it.
For instance, we are not going to the World Cup. So I should spend my time. I'm trying to look for other ways.
So
we're trying to look for other ways to make money. I'll be talking about Nigerian Supporters Club.
Okay.
It's not going to put food on my table. For me, it's a non-issue. It's just embarrassing the way they're going about it. It's very embarrassing.
You're getting closer to it.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. And I've asked them, what is the problem in supporting one team? And you're all supporting the same team, but you have 4 different factions. Make it make sense?
I still want you to find.
So maybe somebody's giving them money. I don't know.
You should be able to pin it down.
Jimmy, it is not my purview. I report sports. Supporters club is not sports.
It's part of sports.
It's not. For me, it's not.
It's part of the politics.
So if you listen to my radio show in the morning, and I spent 5 minutes talking about supporters club, when matches were played, when basketball games were played, you will listen to me tomorrow.
I will.
You will not. Because if you're a true sportsman, that's not content. It's not sports content. What am I doing with supporters club? Whatever they want to do with themselves, good luck to them.
You see,
they add a lot of aura to football.
You talk about this supporters club with a lot of irritation, which I
understand. Yeah, it is. I am irritated by what they are doing.
It is the irritation that made me bring this subject to the fore and ask you. Do you understand? It is
the irritation that made me look at them and wonder what is going on with these guys. What is the problem?
Don't you feel the same irritation sometimes when you are talking about NFF? Can't pay coaches on time. You know.
You see, let me give you an example. 4 years ago,
yes,
I put up a post. Egyptian FA came up with, they built a new center of excellence for their national teams. Fields, hostels for national teams. Beautiful structure. And 4 years ago, I put up a post about what the Egyptian team had done. And I asked questions why, after going to 6 World Cups, we don't have something similar. And I did a mental calculation of the amount of monies we have made from going to World Cups, which was amounted to $22 million at the time. Some people even told me that my figure was wrong. And I did not even involve sponsors' money or government support money. That was just money you earned legitimately from FIFA for getting to those World Cups. And I was wondering where all the money disappeared to. Because you cannot point to, it's only now that they're trying to build something in Abuja. You cannot point to one structure that says this is, so that's why this going to World Cup, what has it done for our football? I don't see it. I don't see what
So
attending
you
World
don't
Cups.
feel a sense of loss that we are not going for
I don't.
this year's
I
World
feel
Cup?
a sense of loss from the business side. Because if we're going to the World Cup, I know I'll get a lot of media business.
Sponsorship, yes.
But when it comes to real developmental issues of our football, I don't feel it. We've been to so many World Cups. Show me the structures on ground that tell you we have been to 6 World Cups. There's nothing you can point to.
But that's
Teams that have gone to fewer number tournaments, World Cup, can show you what they did with the World Cup money. So it's gotten to a point where some of us got to a point where we felt, look, let me just focus on my primary job, which is reporting sports. I'll give my opinion, but here nobody listens.
But you're getting to a point where even those of us who are not in sports are getting to another levels. For instance, in politics, I can't believe as I'm sitting down here that elections are less than a year away. There's no excitement. There's nothing to. I do a daily analysis. There's nothing to analyze.
Yeah.
The issues are not being spoken about. The charisma that goes with elections and so on and so forth.
The momentum you expect.
The momentum, yes.
Is
the
not there.
debates, the discussion. I don't think, well, the current president we have didn't debate the last time and he won the election. So I don't know why he'll want to debate this time around. He's not likely to go to any Chatham House and so on and so forth. But the country is dying, Deji. The country is dying. That is the part that concerns me. And in your own area is sports. And I want to, on behalf of Nigerians, I want to beg you not to be defeated by the system. What I'm seeing in you is the same frustration. In fact, I was just this morning, I was telling somebody he was helping me tie because I can't tie my shoelace myself. I can't bend down the way. And I was
Really?
yes. And I won't say whether it was a him or her, but I was begging it. That I was telling it we work together. I was begging it that I don't know for how long I'll be able to do this job. It's becoming frustrating, Deji.
I agree with you.
In all areas.
I agree with you.
Even politically, everything.
I agree with you.
What do you think is wrong?
Let me give you an experience I had recently. I think, what was the incident that happened? A friend of mine from the UK called and lambasted all of us, mentioned a few other names, that those of us who are senior sports journalists are not speaking out against certain things. And I told him, when you even do speak out, nothing happens. The system doesn't change.
Don't you think that when you speak
So
out?
that was when I showed him this thing I said 4 years ago, and I put that thing there that the way our football was going, disaster was waiting to happen. I put that thing out. Since then, we have missed 2 World Cups. So that means I was being a prophet at the time, and I was right. I'm not happy I'm right.
Prophet of doom?
But it was obvious the way we were going, Jimmy. It was obvious the way we were going. Right now,
were you a prophet of doom?
I saw it happening. I saw it coming. That was before we played Ghana in the World Cup qualifiers. And look at this World Cup qualifiers.
Can you prophesy against the next 4 years? Let's hear you.
In the next 20 years, if we don't go back to developing proper sporting structures, infrastructure, institutions, talent development, long-term planning, Jimmy will continue to go round and round in circles.
Wow.
Because other countries are not sitting idly. Other countries, they say local balance, are not playing.
Well, I don't even think what you said is restricted to sports alone.
Well,
unfortunately, it's not restricted to sports alone.
Because when you have a situation, I've asked a question, Jimmy.
Yes.
I've asked a question, going to the World Cup.
Yes.
What has it done for Nigerian football? I don't see it.
Well,
I honestly don't see it beyond our players becoming more popular and going abroad. In terms of local football development, our league is almost nowhere. What have we gained from going to multiple World Cups? There's no difference whether we go or we don't go.
The other day I was with a friend and we're talking about sports, Premier League and so on. And I wanted to imagine you can almost assemble a team of 11 with Nigerians doing well abroad. But you pick an Osimhen here and Saka here, whatever, you will have a team of 11. But back home, the local league is dead. Do we still have a local league?
Well,
it's
still is there. Yeah, there are attempts being made to revive the local league, and I'm aware of some of those attempts.
What is the problem?
It has to be done. I feel that ownership is a big problem of.
What about money?
Ownership. What I mean by ownership is a lot of the clubs are owned by governments.
State
governments are not set up to run proper sporting franchises. They are not.
But the money to run it very well in the private sector is also not available.
Yeah, but one or two private clubs are doing well and showing how it can be done.
Are they well funded?
They're well funded, but it depends on. We've had them in the past, Abiola Bay, National, but it depends on an individual who believes so much
in football
to put his money there.
Abela put a lot of money.
At the end of the day, I'm hoping the gentlemen who are involved now are doing their best, are not frustrated out of
I saw an interview in which
but these days, a lot of them are making money from sale of players, particularly academy players. You know, Nigeria, if you sell a player $500,000, $1 million is a lot of money.
Yes.
And so that is it. In fact, most Nigerian players moving abroad now are moving from the academies.
We named 2 or 3 academies. I think Odegbami has one.
Odegbami has one. There's one.
Is it still very good
one. No, Odegbami has a school. A sports secondary school.
Oh, okay.
But in big checks, I think a lot of the students have won scholarships to travel abroad to study football scholarships, basketball scholarships, I think, and all that. There's Beyond Limits run by the Remo Stars owner, Kunle Shoname. It's probably the example you can make of how an academy should be properly run. I've been there, seen the diet is fantastic. They have proper diet. They have a proper sleeping quarters. They have good coaching and all of that. That's an example of an academy.
Does he sell the players?
Yeah. There have been cases where
that is a business concern.
It is a business.
No apologies for it.
Yeah, it's a business and it's legit. There's one in Lagos too. 36 Lions, great gentleman who has also moved up players and all of that. It's complete legit business. They are bringing young talents out. They are giving them. They are developing their talent and selling them.
Because sometimes when you look at local football, the one they play at Fadeyi under the bridge, and you see a lot of talent. By the way, where is Yusufon? Where is Yusufon?
I have no idea.
Where's the gentleman, Tony
Eke passed a long time ago. Tony Eke passed.
So that was the end of the club.
That's part of the thing I'm talking about. It shouldn't have ended with Tony Eke passing.
This one, they brought the likes of Amoka,
Chikano, and so on. You see, for our sports to develop, I'll keep saying it. We need to put, and then the administrators, I'm sorry, I'll say this, a lot of them are not like I say this. The administrators or the federation people make it, for instance, this basketball thing, they are making it about them. It's an ego thing. They keep all these fights goes on and all of that, but the athletes are suffering. You know, sports gives an athlete, a talented sportsman, an opportunity life would probably never give them, especially those from the indigent part of life. That's why you look at sports globally, 80% of sportsmen, 90% of them come from indigent backgrounds. Very, very poor backgrounds.
Yes.
But sports offers a platform where a child can come from this point to become global, a global citizen. And we are not, these platforms are not being protected by our so-called administrators. They are making it all about them. And it's very, very unfortunate. There was a time a group of young girls qualified for a World Cup. They could not go because of some administrative issues. You have shut the door on a probable great future for some of those girls who, if they had gone to that World Cup, they might have been discovered by scouts who will take them from there and their life changes. We are undermining the potential that sports has to transform lives by being too selfish about it. Government cannot do everything, we agree. Education it's not everybody that will be smart and educated. But some people have a talent in various sports, not only football, that can make a life for them and their families. That's why we need to protect these platforms. Some sports, basketball, the league is not going on. How do you discover or develop new? How do players develop their talent if they are not playing? But these administrations keep fighting each other, and it's about them. I find that completely despicable. Because if you really care about these athletes, if you need to step back to make things work, you step back. But if it's about you, you will stay there and keep fighting, and lives are being destroyed.
I think that will happen in another Nigeria, not one of today. Thank you very much, Deji. It's been nice talking to you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Yeah. Good to be here.